Hello, it's Maginpanic. Today we're gonna talk about sparks. Let's go. Sparks are literally just a tiny little particles of metal, okay? That are kind of melting, glowing, and doing everything that makes them cool, obviously. They can come out from sparklers, and I just recorded sparkler, and I will share with you that process right now. Here we go. So I will create a quick setup with water bottle, sparkler, and a bit of tape. I'm gonna tape it somewhere here, and as I have a black background here, should work just fine, hopefully. Alright, since we have slowed down footage to something like 20% of the actual speed, we're gonna use that kind of timing. When it comes to sparks, they can be really fast, and because we have possibility of creating animation in the way that we want to slow things. So let's take a closer look to that recording and a couple things that might occur in this footage. So let's take a closer look on this spot. Okay, as you can see, this spark is going really fast, slowing and breaking into more particles, and then it disappearing. Okay, what we have on the left side, let's say here, it's going up, and the same thing happening, and then it's destroying and disappearing in this way. Okay, that's pretty cool. And not all of the sparks are behave in this way, okay? Some of them actually, let's check this tiny bit here. It's going, using the gravity, going down after it reaches the highest point somewhere there, and then goes down. Okay? So the gravity is also the thing to consider when you are doing sparkles, because not every particle will have energy to disappear before we will see that bend. Let's go to another example. Focus on what's happening in this space. Okay, we can see this particle going up, then destroys. Okay, sparks once again, and then it's going like nothing happened. And that's pretty cool thing to consider. And the next example, this one here, this particle, okay, it's going here, bouncing actually in couple different ways, and then it's bouncing over here, and I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe the two particles crashed, but then it obviously disappearing. There's another one that's happening here. I want to take a look closer on this one. It's going up, it's like bouncing, but there's no extra structures happening here, okay? It's like just a ball that bounces and disappears. That's weird, but that also can happen, okay? And the last one in here, when there's exactly the same thing with bouncing, going to the place where it bounces, nothing happened, okay, and then after the bounce is the crash here. So what we are going to draw will be, I will create a layer where I will create two things. The one thing will be more or less where I want to start the particles and more or less where I want to end our particles. You might notice they will come from a point which is not so tiny because the particles are really high temperature, I guess. More or less there are just a lot of light and we can't see what's happening with naked eye, okay? So there is that little thing that will be very, very bright, okay? And from that point, I'm gonna draw a couple lines with little thinner line to define more or less where is the center of the particles. We're gonna try simulate a sparkler and also do some sparks that will bounce on the ground, okay? Considering the sparkler, I will have white color and something around 6 to 8 frames, okay? Not more, maybe less. Some particles are faster than other. Moving on. What we're going to draw is, I will draw everything on 2s. So probably it will be even 10% of the initial speed of our footage. So we will simulate the speed with amount of particles, not with the speed itself. I believe it's clear. 7 frames. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and we can just play it and check how it's looking. It's just one tiny particle and we are going to draw way more of them. We are not going to start every time on the first frame. To create that constant loop with particles, we're gonna multiply that layer obviously, but we are going to create a couple of them starting on different frame to create that loop within that one layer itself as well. Let me introduce you to the particle that will crash in the air, something like this, and then I will need to consider some tiny bits around that place and we are good to go with another particle. Okay, maybe one more here. So these are just a little slower than the previous ones. Then I can create faster particle that will destroy like here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this particle this way. And it's going to destroy on its own like here. I'm gonna change the exposure to 2, set a drawing, mark drawing as key drawing, so I will exactly see what's happening in there. That might be our loop that we will be working on for now. It's super easy. What's cool about sparklers is the amount of particles inside it. and they all have to be drawn frame by frame, but it's so easy to do it. So let's create a couple particles, and then I will focus on one more type of particles that I believe should exist in the sparkler. Let's speed up a little. Alright, once we have that many particles, we can multiply them. As I have this layer, I'm going to create a composite that will contain our particles within that layer and multiply it a couple times, create new columns. Let's create a couple copies of those layers. Maybe that many of them, and once we have them all, let's focus on the center point if it's done properly. Then we have to add a variety, and to add that variety with that many frames, I'll just grab them and I will move them along, spreading it through the entire timeline to make that feeling that there is a lot of different sparklers, okay? And our loop ends here. Now, to create even more, I don't need this layer. To create even more of that, I'm going to add a variety with rotation and scale, okay? So just a random rotation and scale thing, maybe a little skew, whatever, or maybe skew will not work at all, but you got the point. And let's see how it looks. It's pretty cool, right? So almost entire sparkler is done. Like that, they could be a little smaller, there could be a little more variety, but as for something that we draw in 5 minutes, it's insane. Okay, the second type of particle that I like to create is like a ball that will start going so slow to the point where it's almost can't get more slower, and it will start disappearing in such weird twisting kind of way, okay? What I want to do here is to have those loops work with each other perfectly, so I will frame earlier. So what we're gonna have here will be this, 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 and just a tiny one here. That's a weird thing, you might say. That's a really weird thing. But when there's a couple of them in the scene, just as the regular sparkles, it looks cool, in my personal opinion. So instead of having tons of them, I will just create marked drawings as key drawing. I'll just create one more similar to this one, because I don't need to have so many of that type of particles, but just a couple of them to visualize that effect. That I think it's cool. Slower. Then I'm starting to destroy this particle. Make that move, and it's gone. F5. Okay, then I'm going to the first particle, first frame, changing color to white, tool properties, with paint option, repaint, select all on this layer, select all on this layer. Works perfectly. Drawings, mark drawings, key drawings, and I'm gonna do exactly the same here as I am here. Copy, paste, special. This one a little smarter because with composite. I'm gonna save the scene, okay, and I'm gonna do it like 2 more times maybe. I haven't changed the pivot point, so I might have exactly the same issue as I had, obviously. So I'm going to move over all of them and fix this pivot. Okay, copy paste special with fixed pivots. Now what I'm going to do is I will just fix that randomly. The same with the scale. Let's try to have them spread evenly on the entire scene, kind of evenly. Maybe smaller, maybe bigger, maybe rotate, maybe a little smaller, okay. Maybe rotate it a little, and yeah, we're good. Now as I'm selecting them will be exactly the same thing. I will copy everything and I will move them so I will have some extra motion. To speed it up, I'm trying to grab some on the top as well as some on the bottom. It's just a little faster than doing it layer by layer. 2 of them, then 2 left, maybe 1 here and this one here. I will cut those frames because I don't need them anymore. Okay, and this is the end result of the sparkler. Maybe some of the bigger chunks that I just draw, for example like this one here, it's too big, but in the sparklers there are a lot of anomalies, I believe I can say that, and everything is pretty acceptable once it follows the paths and gravity, kind of. We haven't used any gravity here because it's just easier version of it, but actually you might bend some and make that gravity so it's better. Let's move to the particles on the ground, okay? I'm going to use exactly the same scene here. I will delete those frames because I don't need them anymore. I'll create a layer, and on this layer I will create the ground and extend the exposure here. Okay. To stay consistent, I'll just make it double the length. With that being said, what will create this particle will be something you will like so much, I believe, because it will be tiny thunder. I will do a separate tutorial about thunders once I will feel it's something that anyone can handle, or anyone that watched and tried my previous tutorials. I don't think it's the time right now, so I'm going to draw something really quick. Sparkles under everything that can create them, like thunder, metal scratching concrete or something like that. They're more likely just balls that are moving fast and disappearing. When you have the contact here, you will have some chunks of them moving other sides. I created a layer for them and I created them on another layer. Okay, then the gravity is the main part for that type of particles, because they will not move up and disappear as it's on the sparkler, because in the sparkler there are more chemical materials that causing that speed of the particles, and in this case with the contact on the ground it's not happening. Particles are not moving that fast. They are moving, they are getting smaller, and then they should disappear. In here we can, like, I will create this one as well. This one will kind of disappear as well, and this one will, I feel like I can bounce it off the ground and make it disappear this way. On the other side I will create pretty similar thing, but I'm not going to let this particle disappear that fast, and I will let it bounce once, and the second one will go about something like this maybe, and bounce as well, and then disappear. I've never tried it here, but maybe I'll try the particle destroys in the air. I'm really curious how it will perform in this type of animation, and I believe like I'm allowed to create one more, maybe in this direction here, super fast one that will also more likely to destroy, but it will actually change direction. Okay, so that will be that directional one that changes direction. I'm really curious how it will perform on the thunder particles. Okay, once I have that done, I will switch them into exposure of 2. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna work on exposure 2, but I'm gonna try. Let's play it. Just as I said, the particles, because the amount of particles we have on the sparkler allows us to create slower motion, okay? For the particles that are from the thunder, and the fact that we have just a couple of them, it's not allowing us to create just 5 particles with that kind of speed, the same kind of speed. There are 2 types of particles that should be considered when you are creating that kind of things, and everywhere where you can use it, you should use them because they are just looking awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and actually I animate this in your style. I would love to see your version of those sparkles. That would be awesome. With that being said, consider subscribing this channel, hit a like, leave a comment if you have another idea, next idea for a tutorial for me. Thank you so much for your support. See you in the next video. Cheers! Hey, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Check my other videos on this account and make sure to check my other social media accounts. Stay awesome!